start with Kinnim?
Start with Kinnim.
Kinnim, okay, all right. So Aleph Gimel.
Let's do it.
In what case are these words said? With obligatory pairs of bird offerings and voluntary bird offerings which mingle together, but with obligatory pairs of bird offerings which mingle with each other. One pair for this woman and one pair for that one. Two pairs for this woman and two pairs for that woman. Or three pairs for this woman and three pairs for that woman. Half of the mingled birds are valid to be offered and half of the birds are invalid to be offered. However, there was one pair of obligatory birds offerings for this woman and two such pairs for that woman, or three such pairs for that woman, or 10 such pairs for that woman, or 100 such pairs for that woman. The amount of birds in the smallest group is valid. Valid to be offered whether they are brought for or the same obligation, or whether they are brought for two different obligations, whether they are brought from one woman or whether they are brought from two different women. What is the case of the two groups of offerings being brought for one type of obligation? If the first group of offerings were brought for one incident of a woman giving birth, and the other group of groups were also brought for incident of giving birth, or if the first group of offerings was brought for the first occurrence of ziva, and the other group of groups were also brought for occurrences of ziva, these are the cases of both groups being brought for one type of obligation. And what is the case of the two groups of offerings being brought for two different types of obligations? If one group was brought for a birth and the other group was brought for occurrences of ziva, what is the case of the two groups of offerings being brought from two women? If the two groups of birds were brought to atone for this woman upon giving birth, and to atone for the woman upon giving birth, or the two groups of birds were brought to atone for this woman for an occurrence of ziva, and to atone for that woman for an occurrence of ziva, these are the cases of the groups being brought to both women being brought for one type of obligation. And what is the case of the groups of offerings of two women being brought for two different obligations? If one group of offerings is brought to atone for the woman upon giving birth, and the other group of offerings was brought to atone for that woman upon an occurrence of ziva, the Rabbi Yosef says, two women who were brought obligated to bring bird offerings, who took two their pairs of birds for their offerings, mixed together without designating which particular birds would belong to which woman, or if they together gave the purchase money for their pairs of birds to the Kohen, who sells these birds without designating which money belongs to whom, the Kohen may offer whichever birds he wishes as a katos, and may offer whichever birds he wishes as an olah. Whether they are both brought for the same type of obligation or whether they are both brought for two different types of obligations. An undesignated pair from which one bird flew away to the open air of the world, or it flew among bird offerings which must be left to die, or if one of them died, he must take a partner for the second bird, or if it flew to among others which are fit for offering, it is unfit, and it renders unfit one bird, corresponding to itself. For a bird which flies out of its pair and into other pairs is unfit, and it renders unfit one bird corresponding to itself.
Okay, so this is again a building. This Mishna Aleph here is a building block for what's going to be coming in the following Mishnayos. Okay, so just to sharpen that distinction, is that if a bird just gets lost, it flies away and goes into the wilderness and whatever, okay, that's fine, because we can presume that that bird is not being brought as an offering anywhere else. So it's not going to have any effect on the bird that's remaining. So just take another one, make it into another pair, and you're fine. Okay, or if the bird died, or if the bird flew into a group of birds that had to be left to die, in which case it itself is going to have to be left to die. It's not going to be brought on the Mizbeach. That's not going to affect the original one. But if it starts flying into other groups of birds that are going to be brought, then there's a possibility that this bird will be brought, and that is going to affect its partner that's left behind. So you can't just add another one to it, because it's still a bird that might be brought on the Mizbeach. And these are the cases that we're going to start bringing, where it's going to affect the partner that it left behind. Just to remind you of the mechanism of how this works, is that if you have two birds and one is brought as a chatas, the other one automatically becomes an olah. It doesn't require any designation. As soon as the partner is brought as a chatas, the remaining bird is an olah, or vice versa. But I think typically they bring the chatas first. Okay, so now the situation is, if you have let's say two pairs of birds, if you bring one, it doesn't mean anything about the remaining three. But once you've brought two that are a chatas, then the other two automatically become an ola. Okay, so as long as there's any kind of degree of freedom as to what these birds might be, they're considered undesignated. But as soon as there's no option left as to what they're going to be, then they automatically are designated as that type. Okay, so now we're going to start looking into some more complicated cases. So Mishnah base Ketzad Shtei Nashim. So what happens if you have two women? Okay, so you've got Rachel and Leah, each of whom has brought two pairs of birds.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe we should do a little whiteboard over here.
Okay.
Okay, let's do a share on a whiteboard. Bam, there. Okay, back to you. Where are you? There. Okay, just moving things around on my screen. Okay. So what can we do? Let's do a drawing over here. So we have Rachel has got 2 and Leah has got 2. Let's find some things that we can put stamps on. Yeah. Okay, so Rachel's got 4 birds. We'll make the hearts represent Rachel's birds. And we're going to make the stars represent Leah's birds. Okay. So now, at this stage, when everything is happy, then they would have given these things to the Kohen, and the Kohen would have brought 2 from each as a chatas and 2 from each as an ola. But what happened is one of these birds from Rachel's nest flew out. Okay, and it somehow landed in here. Now we don't see them as heart and star. They're all kind of mixed up. We know from the perspective of truth which bird this is, but the people who are in the story don't know. They just see 5 birds here, so we don't know which one belongs to Rachel and which one belongs to Leah, or which 4 belong to Leah. Okay, so one flew into here. Posel echad b'halichasa. So what will happen is you're still going to be allowed to bring 1 pair of birds from here, because you'll bring this one as a chatas and this one as an ola, and that's okay. But one of the birds behind here is going to be left in trouble, because what's going to happen is Leah can still bring all of her birds. Okay, she can bring 4. We can bring 4 birds out of the slot over here, because either it'll be all of Leah's birds, which is fine, 2 chatas and 2 olas. Okay, or else you'll accidentally leave out one of Rachel's birds, and what will happen is, let's say you bring 2 chatas are from Leah, and one ola is Leah's and 1 ola is from Rachel. So now we know that there's 1 ola that's come. So we know from the perspective of truth that one of the birds is Rachel's, but they don't know this. Okay, so what would happen is that, in our situation where Rachel's one bird has been brought as an ola, it's fine to bring 1 more chatas and 1 more ola, but we can't bring the last one as anything, because maybe her bird was brought as a chatas, maybe her bird was brought as an ola. We don't know. We cannot bring this one. So we've got to leave 1 bird over here aside and 1 bird over here aside, and they're going to have to be left to die.
But we don't put a siman on the birds to say whether they're a chatas or an ola.
If you'd done that, we wouldn't have a shaila. That would be a great idea to put a siman on.
I just wonder why.
Good idea. You should tell the people in this Mishnah that they should have put a siman, but they didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
So what can we do? What can we do? We're in the situation where these birds are all mixed up and we just don't know. Okay. Right. So basically the effect. So now we've seen in micro what the effect is of 1 bird flying into this batch over here, is that it puzzles one. So it puzzles 1 bird that's left that it left behind, and that's what we're saying here. So it leaves 1 bird over here that's going to be puzzled. Okay. Now, of course, you can still only bring 2 pairs of birds from here. Now, what happens if a bird from this lot flies back into this lot? So let's say, boom. We don't know. We don't really know which one it was, but 1 flew back into here. So now this is going to have exactly the same effect in reverse. Is that now we've got 1 bird over here is going to be left puzzle, and and now we're only going to be able to bring one set of birds from each set. Why? Because what will happen is, if we take both sets of birds, then it might be that one of them is, well, we could do it both ways. Let's say that the coin actually goes and offers both sets of birds, right? One chatas, one ola, one chatas, one ola. It's actually all going to turn out okay, because we've got a maximum of one bird that came from Rachel's side. But what we cannot do is offer anything from this side then, because let's say one of Leah's birds is sitting in here and its counterpart has already been offered, obviously. So therefore, we don't know whether this bird should be brought as a chatas, as an ola, and therefore we cannot bring anything from this side. So alternatively, so either we can bring both birds from this side, or we can bring both birds from this side, but we can't bring both both birds from either side, from both sides. So what you could do is bring two birds from this side and two birds from this side, and that would also be fine, because no matter what happens, it'll work out okay. Let's say if it's two birds from Leah, then that's fine, and there's no issue, because then you could bring as many birds as you wanted from this side and it would be fine. Let's say you brought one bird from Leah, one bird from Rachel. The maximum that would happen is that on this side you'd bring one bird from Leah, one bird from Rachel, but none of them have been automatically designated, because you haven't brought a full set that forces this one to become a chatas or an ola. Because if you're only bringing one from Leah, then this one could be either a chatas or an ola, and it doesn't matter. And if you're only bringing one bird from Rachel, then any bird of hers could be a chatas or an ola, and it doesn't make a difference. But the remaining birds will be invalid to bring. Okay, so basically in this situation, oopsie, that was not intended. Let's erase that. So in this situation over here, we can bring one set of birds from each set. What happens if it happened again? Parach v'chazar, parach v'chazar. So let's say these birds start going crazy, and they all get, and this one flies across and ends up on this side, and this bird flies across and ends up on this side, right? So now we've got a whole mixture over here. And we have no idea what bird is which. Effectively, what's happened now is that we've just got a big mixture of birds, and we don't know whose bird is whose. We've just got one big mixture. Because now, by this stage, there's no more these are Rachels and these are Leahs. They're just now one big mix over here. So what can you do? What you can do again is you can bring half of the birds. So we're actually in no worse situation than we were before. We can bring exactly half of them, because as long as you bring no more than half of the smallest set, then you haven't automatically designated the other half, and it's safe to bring half of them as olos and half of them as chatas. Okay, so in your worst case, you're bringing these two, let's say, as a chatas and an ola, and these two as an ola and a chatas, and that's fine, because as long as you brought less, the first set over here is still less than half of the original set, you're okay. The second set is the first time that you can know that you have got. Hold on a second. Wait. Yeah, it's fine, because even if you brought two of Leah's, even if you happens to bring all four of them from one woman, it would still be okay, because half of them are meant to be chatas and half of them are meant to be ola. So it's still going to work out fine. You can always bring out half of the birds here as korbanos, and the other ones are going to be lost. So that's what we see in the Mishnah. You can still work this situation out. But what happens? Let's say we're going to have a new situation over here. Let's just erase everything.
Really confusing.
Clear all drawings. Okay.
Very confusing. Very confusing.
Yeah, it is. It is a difficult situation. So now we've got a situation where we've got 7 women. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and in each one we've got 2. This one's got 2 birds. This one's got 4. This one's got 6. This one's got 8. This one's got 10, and well, I mean, it's 5 pairs. So this is 12, and here's another one with 7 pairs. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so these 7 women have got all these birds over here. Now, so that gets us. This one's got got 1 pair. This one's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So one of these birds flies from here into this lot over here. Okay, so immediately
you don't have the other ones. You had hearts and stars. So this are they all katos here, or they can't?
Every one of them is. Well, I just didn't have enough symbols to represent all the different women. But in each pair, one is going to be a chatas, one is going to be an ola. It's meant to be.
First one, the katos and ola. And the second one, there were 2 katos and 2 ola.
Correct.
That's
correct.
Okay.
But what happened is this bird over here flew into this lot over here. So we know immediately that this one is going to lose her offering, because as soon as her bird flies into a bunch of birds that could be offered, it immediately she's going to lose hers. Then another bird flies. Then the bird flies from here to here. Another bird. We don't know which bird, because again, we can't tell the difference between any of these birds. If they had simanim like you said, then everything would be great. But as soon as one bird leaves here, we're going to lose a bird over here. So I'm just going to draw little lines over here. So one of them flies out, and as soon as it flies out, we're going to lose its partner. Then another one flies out through here, and because it's flown out, it's going to lose a partner. And this one flies out here, so it loses a partner. Okay, and another one flies out here, so it loses a partner. Another one flies out through here, and it loses a partner. And another one flies out through here, and it loses a partner. Okay, so this is in one direction. Adkan, we've lost 1 bird from this set over here, and 1 bird from every set going up to here. And then what happens is, of course, because we're dealing in theory, and this is not something that would actually happen, is things happen in reverse. So a bird flies from here to here, which again puzzles 1 there, flies from here to here, puzzles another one over here, flies from there to there again, puzzles another one over here, flies from here to here, which puzzles another one over there, flies from here to here. So you see the chain reaction happening, puzzles 1 over there, flies from here to here, and puzzles another one over there. Okay, so now we have a bunch of birds in this lot over here that we're not going to be able to use, because each bird that, by the way, that of course each bird that lands in a different lot is you're unable to sacrifice it or its partner. So for every one over here that gets puzzled, it loses a partner. So zoom, this one has 2, loses 2, loses 2, loses 2. Okay, boom, 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 and this one only loses 1. So now let's see what happens over here.
All lose 2 except the last one.
So because the last one loses only 1, because it only had 1 flying in and 1 flying out. Everyone else had 2 flying in and 2 flying out, because they're in the middle of the chain. Okay. So now we see how this is going to turn around. Okay, Harishon Avashnia Ein Lahem Klum. These 2 guys. These 2 sets over here are gone. They are out of the story because they've lost everything. Okay. Hashlishi Yeshla Achasa, she's still got 1 pair of birds that she can bring. Revius Yeshla Shtaim, she's got 2 sets of birds that she can bring. Right. Chamishis Yeshla Shalosh, she's got 3 pairs of birds that she can still bring. Shishis Yeshla Arba, and the 4th, she's got 4. The 6th one has got 4. But
Well,
and she's got 6 pairs of birds that she can still bring because she only lost 1 pair because she's in the end. Okay, and guess what happened? The whole story happened again. So from this one, we can't have any birds flying from over here because these are birds that are going to have to be left to die. As soon as a bird that has to be left to die comes into another set, they're all going to have to die. Okay, so now from her set, 1 flies out, so it puzzles 1 against it. Okay, another one flies through here, puzzles 1 against it. Another one flies through here, puzzles 1 against it. Another one flies out of here, puzzles 1 against it. Lands in this slot over here. It puzzles, then it flies back, which means that it and 1 partner get lost. It flew back into here, and then it flew out of here, so which means that these 2 that we just lost each lose a partner. Okay, back into here, we're going to lose this one and 2 against it, 2 against them, and back into here, which means that we're going, and this one flew out of here, so it loses this one, and 2 more get lost over here, and back into here, this is also lost. So now in this round, what's going to happen? They lose 2 pairs each way. Okay, so these 2 now have got nothing left, and they're eliminated from the story. Okay,
say that one more time. Two came out of there.
So 2 pairs. So because you've lost, because you lose 1 pair when it flies out, and 1 pair when it flies in.
Right.
Okay. So these two have both lost, are both out of the story. Okay. This one's lost another 2 pairs. So what's left over here is that the Chamishes Yesh La'achas, she's number 5. She's got 1 pair left over there. The 6th one has got 2 pairs left, and the 7th one has got 5 pairs left. Right? We still got 10. Still got 10 birds in here, so that's 9 pairs. 5 pairs. Okay, and of course the story wouldn't be complete if this didn't happen again. 1 flies out of here and into here. 1 flies out of here and into here, and then it flies backwards, so we lose a pair over here, and it flies back into here, and it flies back out there, so we lose another pair over there, and we lose another one in here. Okay, so now after the 3rd time this happens, the 5th and the 6th have got nothing left, right? These guys are gone, they're out the story. Now something magical happens. Because all of these guys are no longer going to be brought, actually the 6th one didn't lose anything. The 7th one, at least. So these 2 that we had previously eliminated actually are not really eliminated, because as soon as a bird flew back into here, it's a bird that flew into something that was going to die. Remember, we said that the partner only becomes puzzle if its partner flew into a set that could be brought as a korban. But since these remaining sets cannot be brought as a korban anymore because these birds are all going to die, we can just bring another pair. We can just bring another bird in here to be part of the pair, and that bird actually is already taken up by one of these by the birds that flew in. So the last woman over here with 7 still has 5 pairs that she can bring. It's one of the interesting little wrinkles of our story.
Why is she bringing so many?
Possibly because she had multiple zivas that she had to bring korbanos for. She had multiple births, and she was outside. She wasn't in Yerushalayim. She had lots of births, and then she came to Yerushalayim and she wanted to bring a korban, 1 for each birth. Okay, now this would be prior to Rabban Gamliel. Remember, Rabban Gamliel came and saw like the prices of these birds were going out of the roof, and he said, okay, I'm making a gezerah that anyone who has to bring multiple bird offerings like this, just has to bring 1 and we're done. But we're talking about a situation where she has brought them, she's designated them as korbanos, and now she has to bring them. Yeah, it's deeply technical and difficult to follow. I recommend taking a look either at your art scroll and trying to follow what's happening over there, or else Dudi Bank here wrote a lovely contrast on the subject, which can help you to follow. All right. Let's go into Mishna Dalet, because that's clear all drawings. Okay, Mishna Dalet. Kan stomach kan mefureshes. So, by the way, I didn't mention this on the first day we opened this, but the reason why the Maseches is called Kinnim is because each pair of birds is called a ken, a nest. So one nest is two birds.
One nest is two birds. Okay.
Okay. So now we've got two net. Oh, have I lost you?